Today is day 2 of graphing inequalities with two variables. Graphing inequalities with two variables. So everything is the same when we are graphing. Okay, so we basically graph a line. The only difference is we have to decide if our lines are going to be solid, which would be greater than or equal to, or a less than or equal to. Okay, those would be a solid line. Or if they are dotted, that would be a less than or a greater than. Okay, so let's start off today's lesson with a word problem. Okay, so the number one thing you guys got to focus on when we're doing a word problem is we have to look through the entire word problem and try to figure out what we don't need and what we do need. Okay, Sasha wants to attend the carnival. Okay, cool, great, good for Sasha. Okay, the price of admission is $11.25. Okay, this is going to be paid one time. Okay, so we're going to be probably adding something to that. Then I see each ride costs an additional $1.98. Okay, so right when I see that, I know that $1.98, okay, they told me that R is the variable, which stands for ride. So I'm pretty certain that 1.89 times R, okay, when you see that thing of each represents multiplication, okay, that represents multiplication. So automatically I can already cross off these two because I know that I have to have 1.98 R. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I have to actually solve my equation. Okay, if you look, choices number 3 and 4, those are exactly identical. So what we're going to have to do is figure out which of the other two are going to be the right answer. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to solve. I'm going to figure out how many rides I can do. Okay. So here's all the work that I did to solve for R. All right, now R is less than or equal to 14.520 repeating. Okay. But that's not an answer, right? Because you're not going to go to a amusement park and they're going to say, oh yeah, I guess you can go on one more time. No, you don't have enough to go on 15 rides. Okay, so you have to pay attention to what it says right here. Okay, this means less than or equal to. Okay, so it has to be choice number 3. Okay, that's the only option. And another thing you could have done is you could have tested these 14 and 15 rides and see which of those is true. Okay, so remember when you plug that in, the left side should be less than or equal to 40. Okay, and that is a review of something we've already done. Okay, so let's just recap our symbols. So y is greater than, all right? That is going to be a dotted line, okay? And we would shade up. Y is less than, dotted line, shade down. Less than or equal to, solid line, shade down. And greater than or equal to, solid line, shade up. Notice I am drawing nice little tiny dashes, okay? We are not going to make little scribble marks. Not going to do it. Okay. All right, now this is another thing I want to make sure you look at these questions. It says to state one solution. All right, so when we talked about regular equations, not inequalities, but an equation, a solution to an equation is anything on the line. All the points on the line, those are all the solutions. But the tricky thing about an inequality is there's way more solutions than just a line, okay? The first thing, so for this example, it's less than or equal to, so that means that we are definitely going to have points on the line that you can state as a solution. But in addition to that, you can say any of the points in the shaded region as well. Okay, so if we look here, we can see that after we plot this, there are infinitely many solutions. So let's just go over how we plotted this. So again, you always want to solve for y. Okay, that has not changed. We always, when we're graphing, we are always solving for y, just like we did in the section number 1, actually. Day number 1 of this unit, we talked about graphing lines, not inequalities, but lines, and you always want to solve for y equals mx plus b. Okay, so I added the 1/4 x over, so my slope is 1/4, and my b is -5. This is going to be a solid line because it is less than or equal to, and then we are going to shade down. Now, I chose 0, -6 just because it's nice and easy, but any single point in here is an answer. It's a solution. Also, any point on this line is a solution. We have lots of options. Okay? So again, because this is less than or equal to, it is solid and it's shaded down. Number 2, this one was very easy to solve, but you have to make sure when you divide or multiply by a negative, you need to reverse your symbol, your inequality. Okay, make sure you reverse that. Once you do that, be careful with your signs. This becomes 1/2 x and then plus 2. So my slope is 1/2, b equals 2. And then if my line doesn't go through 0, 0, I always like to test 0, 0, okay, in order to figure out your shading. If you're having trouble with your shading, you can always pick a point and try it. If it works, shade over top of it that way. Okay, so I always choose 0, 0 if it doesn't go through. And then that's just another way that you can double check. Also, don't forget, I included that video for you guys of how to use your graphing calculator. Please utilize that. Just make sure that you're putting it in right, okay? Remember, your calculator is only useful if you are using it correctly. Okay, so again, that one shades down because when you divide by a negative, we reverse it. Okay, number 3. Okay, so for number 3, I can first cross off 3 and 4 because I can clearly see that this is shaded up. Okay. Actually, the shading tells me that I can cross off 2 and 4. Okay, that's based on the shading. But the equation, that is another story. So right off the bat, because of the shading and because of the B, I already know it's number 1. Okay, work smarter, not harder. So if you can figure out what the equation of the line is, that will help you out. And then if you know the shading, that is super easy as well. This is a multiple choice question, easy 2 points. Remember, I told you the key to passing this region is multiple choice. All right, so use all of the tools, all of the good test-taking skills that we have been working with. All right. So the next one, so the height of the tallest student on our team, so height's going to be y, is at most, okay, at most. At most means it cannot go over, so it has to be less than or equal to 3. 3 feet more than the height of the shortest student, okay? Just save time. Okay, so remember 3 feet more than, okay? When you use the word more than, so I know that it's going to be addition, but the other thing I notice is that I'm actually going to, if it says 3 feet more than the height, I know that the height of the shortest person is x, so it's actually going to be like kind of backwards, so that's why it's x plus 3. Now luckily addition is commutative, which means the order doesn't matter, so if you did do y is less than or equal to 3 plus x, in this instant that would be okay. Alright, so again, at most is less than or equal to. We pull out our slope and our y-intercept, draw our line. The other thing I want you to notice, do you see how this is only in the first quadrant? Okay? We cannot have a student that is negative feet tall, right? Okay? So our line is not going to extend past this. So make sure that if you're doing a question like this, don't draw an arrow, okay? Because you can't be on this side. All right? Question number 5. Okay, so now again, we're putting in word problems with our inequalities. All right, so the cost of a hamburger plus the cost of a soda can is greater than $5. So really, really simple stuff here, okay? So we write our equation, subtract our x over, and we have a nice, easy inequality, okay? So we have, now we have a greater than sign, okay? So this is going up, and we need a dotted line, okay? Shade up and a dotted line, and again, anything in the shaded region would work. You're obviously going to want to pick whole numbers because we're talking about like food and money, okay? So the only thing you have to remember, and that's what's different about this one, okay, this is a solid line, okay? Solid because of the less than or equal to, okay? Shades down. Okay? Because it's a solid line, I can pick a point on the line. This is dotted, so you better pick one in the shaded region. Okay, almost there. All right, a few more examples. All right, number 6, that one is nice and easy. So we are going to, so this is a greater than or equal to, so it's going to be a solid line. And it will be shaded up. Okay? For this one, this requires a little bit of math, nothing too crazy. Okay, remember the only way that we reverse this is if we divide or multiply by a negative. Okay? So this one is a less than, okay? So it is a dotted line, and it will shade down. Okay, and just like magic, here we go. Okay, so again, I said this is solid, shade down. This is dotted. Oh, sorry. Shade up. My bad. Shade up. Okay, this one shade down. Got a little ahead of myself. Okay, so we're going to shade up and shade down. All right. So again, the cost of a shirt is less than half. Less than half. The cost of a pair of sneakers. Pair of sneakers. Okay, so for that one, nice easy equation. So I get y is less than 1/2 x. Okay, again, you want to just simply graph y equals 1/2 x. Okay, do that graph. I know that this is going to be dotted, and it's going to shade down. Okay? This is only in the first quadrant because we are talking about actual things. All right, one solution for this would be $100 and a shirt for $25. So really you can pick whatever you want. I chose things that were kind of way out there just to pick something, okay? Because remember, these shaded regions, these lines, they go on forever, okay? In the positive direction, of course. And number 9, the distance to school, which we're calling y, is at least is going to be greater than or equal to. Okay, sorry, it looks like a 7. Okay, at least 2 miles more than, that means plus sign, the distance to the library, which they're saying is x. Okay, so y is greater than or equal to x plus 2. Greater than or equal to means it's going to be solid, and this will shade up. Okay, and then again, one possible solution. So this one is a solid line, so you could pick something on the line. So right here, I see that 1, 3. Okay, so again, 1, 3 would be my coordinate. All right, so then I look back at this to answer my question, because the solution to this is, now in the previous ones I just gave you a coordinate, but realistically if you get a question like this on a test, or more importantly on a regent, they don't usually want a coordinate. They actually want you to break it down into real life what they represent. Okay, so one possible solution, again, so 1, I look and see, so it's the distance to the library, and y is the distance to the school. Okay, so miles is what we're talking about. All right, because they told us right here 2 miles. All right, and that's it.